Hello, Ian here from Dark Blades Workshop. Welcome back to another video. This one's all about how I painted the Inferno Squad from Star Wars Legion. Okay, so friends of the channel will know that I don't like grey and I don't like black. I usually use scale 75 Shades of Doom set for the black, but I thought I'd try something different this time. And I think it turned out alright. And then I needed something different again for the helmet, so I thought I'd go down the blue-grey route as well. So let's get on with it. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so the Inferno Squad. I started off with a grey primer, and then I went over that with a dark blue-grey, which I wasn't very happy with, so I left it dark blue-grey. But then I thought, right, I want to go a bit darker, so I got scale 75's Necro grey, which is quite dark. It's more or less a black, really. You've seen me use it before on other black recipes, but I added some of that to it, so it's extra dark green, and you can just see the hue in it. So I mixed those two together. It's about 50-50, so I've got that. And then I added, well, say if I had about 4 drops of paint, I added 2 drops of flow improver to that and a bit of water, and I went over that, and that's where we're at now. So because of the flow improver, you can still see the dark blue-grey underneath it, so we've still got the highlights showing. So the next step, this is where we start painting. I've added some where's it gone? Light sea grey, like that. So light sea grey. I've added that onto the side of the palette there, and I've added that into this mix. So I moved some of this mix over to here. Then I added a little bit of dark sea grey to it. That's a bit light for what I'm after, so I'll add a bit more of this into it. And a drop of water, and we've still got flow improver in this as well. So a drop of water, and this is going to be the highlight colour for the cloth. So I'm going to take that grey now. This is pretty close to Rie grey, which is in the same set as the Necro grey. Actually, if I just grab it, you'll see it's pretty similar. But I want to try using this dark green anyway. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull the pigment down. So we've got a fold in the cloth there, so I'll just pull it towards the high point of the fold, so it just highlights the edge of that cloth. I'm just going to work my way around the mini, just highlighting the raised areas of cloth and every fold. I think after another pass it should really start to show up. And so the main reason I'm using this green in there is because I hate just plain greys. I've got to have some colour in there just to make it more interesting. I've seen these painted up in so many different schemes and they all look pretty dusty really. And I think that's what the danger of using greys is. You know, if you're just stuck to Dawnstone and Administratum grey, you just get like a dusty white colour. I think this way, if you add a bit of colour to it, well, I think it looks a lot better. And I don't think I've ever had a good result doing it the Citadel way. Okay, so we'll call that one pass. I'm going to carry on and do the arms off camera, and we'll come back for the second pass. Okay, here we go with the second pass. So I'll just dab in from the shadow area into the highlight area. I suppose you could even, we did like random stripes, like I don't know, like a tiger or a zebra. You could do a camo pattern with this colour scheme. It would still look pretty good, I reckon. If if you didn't want to concentrate on each fold, just put in the random stripes with this colour. It should offset it quite nicely against the dark layer underneath. Okay, that's the second pass done. So if I move the palette in, you can see the sea grey, so I'm going to add some more of that to the mix, just to lighten everything up. And this will be the next highlight. And because there's no water in this, I'll add a little bit of water just in case it's too intense. But we will test it before we start. I'm going to swap brushes, so I was using a size 1. I'm going to go down to a 0, but I've lost a few hairs in this one, so it's looking a bit sorry for itself, but it's got a lovely point on it. So I'll just test it on his edge of the base there, I can't really see it. I'll try this glove. Yeah, you can see how thin that is. So, same again. Edges of the folds.
And you want to start thinking about which folds would catch more light than others. Because on the second pass, that's where you want to start highlighting again and leave out the ones that you don't think would catch the light as much. But have a think about that when you're going round. Like some of these folds down here won't get highlight next time because it's on the underside of the leg. So I'll go around with the second pass now, and I'm just staying up right on the edges, and as I said, I'm not doing every fold, I'm not doing the whole fold either, so if it goes under there, you don't have to highlight it, just catch the bits that are in the light. So I'm just adding in some more sea grey, and this will be the final highlight. Maybe too light, but it's just going to be a really thin edge highlight. So we'll see how we get on with that. Okay, so I'm looking at the edges of the pockets. Not really got much to play with if I use the side of the brush. It's not going to work, I don't think. I'll try it on that seam there. Nah. That's what we're doing anyway, just edge highlights. In the light areas, so don't go all the way across the lines because some of them are going to be in shadow. Just using the absolute tip of the brush. This one's got more defined pockets on it, so I think we can afford to use the edge of the brush on this one. So I'll carry on and do the rest, and we shall return when I've finished them all. But I'm just going to be going around and picking out where the absolute brightest points are going to be. Some of them are a lot easier to highlight than others. That first one was a bit awkward, but these have got quite defined lines on them, so that's good. Okay, so I'm going to do some, well, I'm going to re-establish some shadows. So I've got the Necro grey there, and I've watered it down quite a bit to a glaze consistency. And I'm just going to put that in the darkest folds, just to re-establish some shadows from where we might have gone a bit too light. So I'll start on these folds here. So doing the opposite to what we were doing with the highlight, I'm pushing up into where the shadow would be. Don't worry if it looks a bit stark, it will dry too. Less intense consistency, because you can probably afford to do 2 of these passes without it affecting it, you know, too much. So I'm starting to get quite a bit of nice definition there. I'm going to go around the outside of the seam of the pockets. Okay, so that's one pass of the wash. I'm going to do another one. Exactly the same, just the same areas, and we'll come back on and finished. Okay, so that's the shadows done. What I'm going to do now is move on to the helmet. Now this was obviously primed, but then I did a couple of thin coats of Abaddon black over that, just to get a nice even base coat to start with. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to put a highlight across there, and maybe a smaller one there on either side, but that's going to be it. And then we'll do, we'll just pick out all the edges with an edge highlight, and we'll build up. So let's make a start. So I've got a 50-50 mix of Dark Reaper and black. I'm just going to apply that to the what I think would be the highlight area. So I'm going to turn it that way so I can actually get at it, and check the consistency of the paint. That's a bit too intense, so a bit more water. Let's try again. Yeah, it's a bit better, it's more runnier, so that's good. So I'm going to start from there and pull it up. So first, if the highlight is going to be right at that point there, I'm going to pull the highlight from there up, from there forward. So the highlight is going to, or the pigment is going to be right in the highlight area. So I'll leave that dry. Quite looking forward to doing this helmet. It's one of the best ones, I think, in the series. So while that's, I think I'll leave that while it's drying. I'll move on to another trooper, and we'll do the same again. So move the pigment up and into the highlight area, and that's going to be the only highlight, I think, because I'm not going to really see around the back of the helmet. There might be one on the nose as well. Well, we can build them up in a minute. And I've got another one. This is the leader. And I'm doing two heads for her. One's the helmet and then one's the bear head that I've done already. Okay, go back to the original one. I'll do one more pass with the 50-50 mix before we move to Dark Reaper on its own. Just make sure your paint is dry before you do the second coat. Okay, so this is Dark Reaper on its own. know whether you can see that. No, I don't think you can. It will become more apparent when we move up into the lighter colours though. The second pass. You need to make a mental note now of where you actually start your highlight. So you can start in a higher up area, so you want to move up just a little bit with an axe highlight. Alright, this is about the third pass now. And what I'm going to do as well is just keep building that highlight on the crown. Well, it's not the crown, is it? It's the forehead, really, isn't it? And there's one. No, that's Troy. I'll put another one on. But what I was saying was, I'm starting to do the helmet as well. You know, the facial features. So there's a bridge of the nose on there, but there's like a cheekbone. So I'm pulling that down into like a triangle shape, and there's a little bit there as well, and along the sides. And so from each subsequent highlight now, I'm going to be doing these as well as the top of the helmet. Hopefully you'll start to see the colour building there. So I'll do another 2 passes at this, I think, just to build it up. It's starting to come, I think. Okay, so we've got the next colour, Thunderhawk blue, and I've added that to the Dark Reaper, so I've got a 50-50 mix. So I've done 1 pass already, and we're working in a smaller area. You should be able to see that highlight starting to build now. And I'm working on the facial features as well. So we've got the bridge of the nose, above the lip and below the lip, parts of the helmet on the side. I don't know what they are. But then you've got the cheekbones as well. Better point on my brush, and it's the bottom corner of each cheek, and there's a little bit on the bottom lip as well where that contour continues. I'm going to do the eyes yet, I don't think, because I'm going to be doing red lenses, so I'll leave that till last, that part. And it's just a case of building up the highlights again. But you should see it start to build now with this colour at least. But it does give a lovely transition towards the highlight area. And cheekily, I've been doing the back as well. So in a similar position, but on the back. So it's not on the crown of the head, it's on this, you know, that top part. Just work round in a circle from that highlight round to about that one there. So it should be, yeah, about there. Let's come in. Okay, so we're on to pure Thunderhawk blue now. do a few more passes as usual. But then I'll make a thicker mix, if you will, so a less thinned down version of this colour. Maybe a little bit of Dark Reaper in it. I'm going to start edge highlighting all of these parts here. There you can see, although this consistency seems to work, so we'll stick with it. Yeah, so we'll carry on, I think. It's working. It's not broken, so why try and fix it? That one's dry, so I'll put another highlight there. This is weird because as I'm looking at it away from, I'm looking at it on the screen and you can't really see. So I'm going to have to try and sort out some proper lighting or something, but I don't know if you can see it or not. You can see the edge highlights now. But it does look really nice in the hand, so stick with it. That'll be lovely when it's finished, I think. So next up is a bit of rust grey. And same again. Smaller area on the highlight. You can start to see it now, can't you? I was worrying because of the lighting. But seriously, if you do take it easy, thin layers. I know it seems like a faff going through all these colours, but I think it makes a nice difference. It's only a small squad. There's 7 in this one, plus Abaddon, the leader. I think you can afford to spend a wee bit of time on them. And you don't I have to use the helmet option for all of them. There are a few bare heads in there. I was planning to magnetise the one with Abaddon so you can swap between, you know, the face option and that one. So I'm going to carry on, do another pass on this one, and then see what we think. Okay, this should be the last highlight now. Fenrisian grey. Just dotting. I think once these red lenses go in, I think I'll look half decent. Hopefully you stuck with it. Or if you did your own twist on it, I'd love to see. There is some freehand for... I can't find any decals anywhere for the sigil that goes on the side of the helmet, so I'm going to have to do them freehand, and I'm not looking forward to it because it's red. But we'll go. But that is it. No, I tell a lie, there's one more stage, but I'll put the lenses in first. I'll have to do the lenses off camera, otherwise you'll just get a screen full of fingers and heads for me trying to get my head close enough to see what I'm doing. But that's all the highlights done. Tempted to put a dark wash in the mouth part, just to redefine that, because there's a few little mistakes there, but it's looking okay, I think. So that's it for this stage. I'll carry on doing the other two helmets and we'll come back. Okay, so last stage, I promise you, blue-green. Make it into a glaze, really thin. I mean, really thin. It's about 4 drops of water, 5 drops of water to paint. And we're going to glaze the whole of the helmet. Let's use this one actually. Okay, so get rid of the excess on your brush first. And then we'll apply it to the whole of the helmet. The thing with this now, you may have to re-establish some highlights, but it should bring everything nicely together. Okay, so that's it for now. I need to think about doing the same process as this to the armour panels on the troopers. So it's more or less the vest armour panel. I'll do exactly the same techniques as we use for the helmets. The guns were a dark metallic steel with a blue, no it wasn't blue, was it? It was black and dark grey mixed together washes. They are Vallejo, so it's pretty much 3 parts dark grey, 1 part black. A bit of water washed over the metal just to dull everything down, and it looks okay as is. I may do a few highlights later on, but we'll see. So the next stage, as I said, is going to be the armour. I can see as it's drying now, I might have to do a few more highlights just to bring it back a bit, but I'm fairly happy with that. So we'll come back for the next stage in a wee bit. Okay, so the glaze done the trick, and I'm just going to re-establish some of the highlights, and then I'm going to leave it because I think we've spent enough time on it now. So I'm just going to highlight the nose and a few other bits like that. And this is, sorry, this is the Fenrisian grey again. Right, I'll leave it there now. So lenses next. Okay, this might be a mistake, but I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do lenses now, and I'm going to do them red because I like red. So I've got burnt red from Vallejo, or you could use something like, I don't know, Mephiston red, or what's the other one? Corn red. Specs have actually messed it up. So I want the red more intense towards the nose. So ideally you should pull from the far corner towards the nose. I'll do a couple of passes just to make sure we've got a whole part of the eye. Just want to leave some black in that corner. So next up is Vallejo's red. And I'm not getting the point all the way back to that corner. I'm starting a bit. Just past the halfway point, pulling towards the nose. So building up that colour towards the nose. So I'm going Wild Rider red now. I'll just concentrate on the one eye for now. We can so about halfway across now. And now orange. false layer orange. That's better. I can actually see what I'm doing on the screen now. I think I'll do. I was planning to go a little bit lighter with a Fire Dragon Bright, but I think I'll do. I don't want to go too light. Well, there we are. There's a Fire Dragon Bright on. So I'm going to leave it there. So we've got dark red from that corner all the way round to Fire Dragon Bright. So I'm going to do the other side and then we'll come back. Okay, so there's the lenses done. Fairly happy. I'm going to move on now and I'll make a start on the boots and gloves. And as I said, I'm doing the body armor part exactly the same process as the helmet, so there's nothing new to see there. So we'll come back when I've done the body armor and then we'll move on to the boots. Okay, so moving on to this part of the belt now. And I'm going to do it on the back because it's easier to get to. So what I've done, I've made a load of greys on my palette and I'll just go through them quickly. So we've got dark blue grey, heavy blue grey, pale blue grey, and that's pale blue grey with a little bit of ivory in it. And I've also got black on the side of my palette as well there. So I've mixed that with a dark blue grey into that one to get a darker tone. So the first thing, plus I've got that there is Payne's Grey ink, and it's quite watered down. I've added that to the pale blue grey as well, and I'm using that to go in the recesses of the belt. So I'll do that first of all. I'll just pause it and we'll zoom in. Okay, so I think we're ready to go. So I'm going to go in there with the darker tone to get some shadow to start with. And I've also added that to the recess part of the holster. So I'm going in with the dark blue grey to start with, and I'm just going to pull it down the way. Then we'll go for the dark blue grey with a little bit of the heavy blue grey in it. So I'm just leaving a little bit of the darker colour at the top. So this will be with a little bit more heavy blue grey into it. So I'm not on pure heavy blue grey yet. As you can see, it's quite thin. I'm concentrating the brushstroke on the top of that line there. So it's like an edge highlight, but I'm putting a little bit of the pigment in the body of that rectangle. So it's just starting to highlight it now. So now we'll go on to the heavy blue-grey on its own. And we'll start further down. So about halfway. And you'll see the lighter part is now starting to show at the bottom of each panel. Right, go slightly lighter now, so it's a pale blue-grey one. And the good thing about it is if you go too light too quickly, you can always glaze over the darker tone, but glaze up the way, and that'll bring it all back into balance, and you can start building it up again. And pale blue-grey with a little bit of ivory in there is the next one. And this should be the last one, so just reserving that for the right at the bottom. So that gives you a nice little fade on that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do exactly the same on the front part, because it'll be a pain in the backside to get to, but I will do it. So I'm going to do exactly the same as we've been doing, but on the holster now. And again, I'm pulling the pigment down the way, so the highlight's going to be at the bottom of the holster. And we've got an edge to pick things out as well, so that's good. So I'll build up the colour, or the highlight, building up the highlight on the bottom. And I'll do the same on the belt as well. So pull the highlight towards the bottom of the belt. Sorry, I went off camera there. You can see we've got a nice fade coming down the holster there. Go lighter again with the edge highlights. You can do these same highlights along the belt as well, and these parts here as well. So I'm going to carry on and do the rest of those, and we'll come back and see those parts under there need doing. And I think that'll just leave us then the boots and the gloves. So let's start highlighting the gloves now. We used brown leather and black leather mixed together for the base coat. And now I'm highlighting now with the brown leather on its own, and just picking out the folds in the gloves. So I'll do a couple of passes. And now I'm going to add some orange leather. It's from the same set from scale 75. And I'll put a highlight on. So it's about a 50-50 mix. Concentrate it towards the knuckle. I won't bother with the bottom knuckle. I think we'll give that another wash just to redefine the shadows, because I don't want to go too light, because I want it to be a really dark brown. And as I tell you, put an edge highlight on that part of the glove, and I want pure orange leather, just the spot on some highlights there. Gloves are done apart from the wash. So moving on to the dark wash now. This is black and dark grey mixed with water and flow improver. Just go over the boots and the gloves. Once again, just to tone them down a bit. And the other thing I've done is I've black lined everything with ink, so around the edge of the gloves, the belts, armour plates, everything is lined now with black ink. And I think once that dries, I think we're done. I'm going to do, the only thing I haven't done yet is obviously the hair on this guy, so I'll get that done and we can do a wrap up. Okay, so I did the hair using Mornfang brown, Scrag brown, Deathclaw brown, I believe that one is, and then I had a bit of pale sand on my palette and I used that to mix into the Deathclaw to make a highlight as well. So hair's done on that one, and this one's finished. So eagle-eyed amongst you may have spotted the a patch on his shoulder. I haven't really finished that yet. It needs a little black squiggle on it for the insignia, but I think I might leave it as it is because it looks not too bad. So those are the same reds Sorry, I knocked the camera. Those are the same reds that I used for the lenses that we saw earlier. The only other thing I did was the belt buckle is using the same greys as we used for the I don't know what that is, a bandolero or something, I don't know. It's similar greys to that, and same again, pulling the pigment down and then pushing a shadow up to get that bit of contrast. And then the bases, I've posted a video today actually of how I do the bases, so if you like them, have a look on the channel. You should find that there for the Tatooine bases. So this guy is pretty much the same really. Didn't use any browns apart from, you saw the glove parts. It's exactly the same. The only thing that's different is this lens. I used the same blues and greys as the helmet on there. This part is the brown and orange leathers as well. Everything else is the same. I think this one's my favourite. I was just watching some of the clips from earlier in the tutorial just now. I was looking at the harsh lighting that I use for the painting makes the highlights look a bit blocky and patchy, but when you hold them in the hand, remember this screen is blown up, you know, about 10 times more than the actual size of the figure, so the highlights do appear to be a lot cleaner, and it looks like a quite smooth transition on them, so it's really nice. So I would say, I know, apologies, it's a long video, but as you can see the results are quite good. So if you stick to those layers and just get those highlights smaller and smaller, build up the colour, and you should get a nice result. The other one I wanted to talk about is the ID-10 droid that comes with Iden Versio. The greys are the same as the blue grey, the pale blue grey, heavy blue grey. This is all the same greys, and the reds are the same as we use for the lenses, but it's obviously the darker red at the bottom, then work your way down to the orange, and then put a dot on the top there. And that came together quite quickly actually, because you've got the greys on the palettes and they're thinned down. I did this in about, I don't know, 15 minutes, and then a quick edge highlight on all the legs. Then I quite like it. I haven't glued it to the top yet, so that's why he's a bit wobbly, so I will glue him now. And here's the boss. One thing I liked was the shoulder pads. It's the same reds and oranges that we've seen in the other parts, you know, the lenses and the patches on the arm. Hair is exactly the same as the first trooper we saw. Everything else is exactly the same, and the best thing about this one is you can swap the head out for a helmet, because the aperture of the head is like an exact 2mm gap. You can fit a magnet down there, and if you glue a magnet to the base of the neck on this one, they fit in together nicely. It's like 2mm magnets were, you know, in their mind when they designed these miniatures. It's great. So that's the boss lady, and if you like the faces, and you give us a shout in the comments below, I'll look at doing a tutorial for the faces, because they're hell of a lot nicer than the Harry Potter ones, and I think I could, if I could do a tutorial that'll give you quite good results too, I think. So just let us know, give us a shout, see if it's something you want to see, you know, let me know.
Right, there we are then, all done. Really enjoying the Legion stuff. I think I'll be sticking to this minor minis for a while. I'll still keep painting the Harry Potter stuff because I've still got a little pile there to finish off. But really enjoying these. I think I will be doing more in the future. Whether I do tutorials for everything like I did with Harry Potter is probably a no, because I really enjoy painting them, and I don't really want to do a tutorial for everyone. Besides, there are other painters, other better painters on YouTube doing Legion stuff. So enough of the waffle. We'll see you in the next episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Cheers.